I'm wondering if I circle around to you, Lina. You're talking about this Market Systems Resilience Index and all the data you've got. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about what are some of the results that have come out of this, using this index, that have maybe been quite interesting or maybe even a bit unexpected?
Sure, there's so many.
Great.
Okay, so the market in general is not inclusive. So let's say women and other systematically excluded groups don't participate in the market as men. Enabling environment, particularly in Mozambique, it's very low. Market actors, businesses complain a lot about either policies or interventions that don't allow, that are creating more barriers instead of letting the business grow. Preparedness as well, preparedness has not improved. In general, households are not more prepared to adapt or to deal with shocks. And shocks affect differently different types of factors. So, for example, COVID didn't affect at all households in rural Mozambique, but it did affect very heavily all the input suppliers or retailers. As opposed to households are heavily affected by climate change or cyclones and so on. And the capacity of recovery is also very different between market actors and by type of shock. So, for example, a household, it takes very long, or some that still have not recovered of a climatic shock and cyclone or a drought. As opposed to market actors that have a better capacity to recover a little bit faster. And that is maybe not that unexpected. Something that was very interesting for us to find out is some of the market actors that we have is input suppliers that, let's say, are the big guys that produce seeds and agricultural inputs, and the retailers that are the agro dealers, that the small guys that distribute that to the last mile. And we found that I think that in 1 year, the agro dealers were even more resilient than the input suppliers. And when we try to understand why, it was basically because these are the guys that are in the field, because they are the ones that know their client. They have feedback mechanisms in place to know, like, if your input didn't work, if the pesticide didn't work, or the seed didn't germinate, they have they can call them
the relationships.
Exactly. Or we learned that they have some other strategies in, I don't know, ads in the radio saying the rains are going to come, it's good for you now to put your seeds. So we understood that these guys that are closer to their clients are more resilient and creating more resilience at a market system level. And that was very interesting for us to see. We even went to the input suppliers, the big ones, we showed them the results, and they were like, yeah, this is true. We don't collaborate between each other. We don't share information. And the other guys that come and buy things from us are actually the ones that are doing the work. So that was a very interesting.
There was a question about the insurance piece. I didn't want to miss that part, and kind of insurance and as potentially a part of resilience. And Lina, I think you wanted to speak to that.
Sure. So the index is composed by around 100 indicators, and they feed into the determinants. And in different determinants like enabling environment or integration, there are questions and indicators related with contracts and insurance. So yes, so now we have data on certain areas for different years. What is the relation of households with, do they have a long-term contract with an output market actor, or do they have access to agricultural insurance? So we do have data for that. And actually that is the point of, like right now, MSRI is a little bit like the metric, but the idea for it is to be an adaptive management tool that we first have a snapshot of the market system's resilience, but then we can dig into a more granular level and see, okay, this indicator of insurance, people in this area are not having insurance. Let's think about what can we do about that. And the idea is, like project managers and people to use the index to shape the interventions so that they can build more resilience. And I just want to touch base on the rigorous part, also for the MSRI. I guess rigorosity depends on what do you want it for, right? We have a fine line of, we still want it to be comparable across the years and across countries. So there are certain things that need to be standard, and there's not much space to change. But that doesn't mean that we cannot localize things and make them appropriate to the context.